Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, all. How are we all doing?
Good, thanks. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good. I've got one eye on the screen and one eye on the football, so I'm kind of going a bit one-side. So we'll see how it goes. But I think the Wi-Fi is okay, so touch wood. All the kids, everyone's watching the football, so it should be okay.
Watching the football on the TV, so you don't have to use the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so they're watching it on Sky, but Sky's okay when you watch it live, not when you download. So fingers crossed, but we'll see.
Yeah, so how is everybody doing? Well?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. A bit hectic at the moment, but yeah, going well. And looking forward to the England game. Get your predictions, your score predictions in the chat. So who's going to win? I know we've got a lot of Scottish reefers that watch us, so I've got to be careful what I say now. Especially you, Ross, as well. I know you're a big Scottish reefer fan, well, Scotland fan, as it were.
Well, you say that, but I've absolutely no interest in football, so I don't even have the game on. I couldn't even tell you what's going to happen. Don't know anything about it, no interest in it, mate. So I'm probably the only one here that's not interested in the football. But yeah, it's good. So, welcome to another live stream that we've got tonight. Unfortunately, Steve isn't joining us tonight. He is away camping and doesn't get a signal. So he thought he was going to get a signal, was going to join us, but unfortunately he's away with the tent. And he assures us that's not an excuse, and he is actually away with the tent. So hope he has a good weekend at that anyway. And tonight we will be doing a giveaway later on, and it's going to be for these Orphec torches. So it says your flashlight and Foxlight flashlight. So I've got these. They're actually really, really good. Quite handy for looking at the tank at night time and so on. If you want to look at them, there's a blue one and the white one. So yeah, actually quite good. So we'll give them away at some point tonight, and we'll do the usual kind of thing. Put it in the name. You put a word in the chat, and we'll go with that. So yeah, I think we'll start off the kind of usual way of what's been happening this week. So Paul, I'll come to you first. If you want to let us know what's been happening with the tank this week, mate. Yeah,
so I haven't done much this week, but the nitrates in the 170 Red Sea are up about 35-40, which is the highest I think I've had any in my tanks. So I was kind of doing a comparison between that tank and the tank that sits next to it, which is the DD Reef Pro 900. So on the one side, you've got a tank that's 280 litres, and on the right-hand side, you've got one that's 170 litres. So not a massive difference between them, because the DD 900 is running like a dream. But the difference is, one, it's got a Clarity in it, and two, it's got a Refugium. Now, the tank's been running, about 16, 17 months now, and I couldn't grow cheap for money to begin with for probably the first 9 months. And I put that down to just not having enough bioload in it. But now the Refugium, the Cheeto, it is full. So what's the difference? Like last 3 months, I've feeding a lot. I mean, I've only got 5 fish in it, so it's not a heavy bioload. So that's on that side. That tank's ticking over. But the 170s.
Well, I think we're losing you, mate. You're
He's got the football on. The kid's streaming the football.
He's definitely he's lost,
definitely streaming the football.
Yeah, I don't know if he's on the Mackie's Wi-Fi again tonight.
Yeah, he's
there we go. Black Pearl Reef saying he's obviously not in the range of the Mackie's.
He's on the. Good to see Black Pearl Reef again. Where would we be without his comments, mate? He brings some really good comments every time.
His comments have to be the best comments I think we ever get, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Alex Mayer's come on Scotland. So we have got some football fans watching, but mainly reefing fans tonight. Mainly reefing fans, I think.
There was a comment further back up here that says, so Scotland loses, Ross has to free the crab. I don't quite know.
Feed the crab? I thought he was on hunger strike. I didn't think you fed him. I thought it was part of the treatment in the tank.
No, I need to free him.
Oh my God! Sorry, Scotland nearly scored then.
Jeez, yeah, that's not going to happen, mate.
I know. Well, I think 3-0, but England. But Jesus. Anyway.
Yeah. So
you're not feeding the crab then, no.
Yeah, I'm feeding him. I'm not setting him free though.
Oh, free.
Yeah, He's still in that tank, mate.
Crap.
But what was the other one here?
How's your refugium going?
My refugium?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mine's just getting started. I'm looking on the internet. When I have an upgrade, I might be able to go to a refugium. It's something.
Yeah, I
think we don't have the luxury of having, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't really have space for that, to be honest with you, mate.
I'm back.
He's back.
There we go.
My fish has died. Wait a minute.
Is McDonald's shut, mate?
Yeah, I think it must
have.
have.
Neighbours' Wi-Fi now. On the neighbours.
Yeah, all the Scots are in McDonald's and they're taking all of the Wi-Fi. That's the only thing I can think of. Because they're all down in London. So maybe having an impact.
They were causing a bit of carnage anyway, mate, from what I had seen.
Yeah, I mean, Leicester Square, aren't they? I don't know about carnage, but they're all there having a few beers.
Right.
Who's it? Where's this? Your house?
So shall I try and carry on the story?
Yeah, sorry, Colin, you go, mate. If you can, your picture looks really bad, so I'm assuming your internet is terrible, mate, but you could try.
No, it's all right.
So, Jay, we'll go to you. What's happening with you this week?
Otherwise, I'll try and log on my phone.
Okay, mate.
What's happening with me? Not a lot, actually. So, obviously, the weather's been really good, so I've spent a lot of time outside at the moment. And at school as well, it's been absolutely chaos, doing all the kids' grades and things. Had some geographers out on field work for the last 2 days, so that's been good. And I'm out on DV at the weekend, so it's pretty hectic. So the tank, to be honest, has not had as much attention as it normally gets. It's missing a bit of TLC, but I think I over TLC my tank, if that makes sense. So sometimes I give it a bit too much care and attention. And yeah, I think it's benefited from just being left a little bit to kind of just do what it does. How old is it? It's 9 months. And I think
9 months now?
9 months since the start of the journey, yeah.
Jeez.
Can you believe it's still going as well? I can't believe it.
Well, there was a couple of twitchy moments you had, wasn't there?
Yeah, I've had a couple of twitchy ones, yeah. That last one about 2 months ago, with the tank crash, that was a bit twitchy. I was over maintaining and over cleaning that one. So what's been happening? My SPS. Update on the SPS. So that is going really well. I think in the hobby, it's called polyp extension. So I've actually got new. I know. I've actually got some new growth on the sticks. I assume that's polyp extension.
I would say so.
Yeah, I would say so. And the kind of the polyps themselves are much brighter and filled out, and yeah, they're looking really good. So I'll try and give you a little look. I have just done a water change though. So when Cajun Reefer said one of my fish was dead, it panicked me a little bit. About 10 minutes. It was
just the way you shouted, mate. That was all it was.
Oh, But just 10 minutes before I came on, I'd done a water change because I haven't water changed for the last week and a bit. So yeah, I'll try and give you a little close up of the SPS. That went in about 8 weeks ago, roughly. The SPS.
Yeah.
Millipora. Digitata has been the easiest one. So if you're looking to start out in SPS, I would say Digitata was an easier one for me. Acropora are just ridiculous, to be honest. The minute you just even go near your tank, it's just like, no, lose a bit of colour, or they're really, if you can get them to grow well, I think you've mastered coral growing.
They did look like they were coloured up quite nice in your last video that I seen.
One of my sticks is coloured up. One of my tenias is coloured up from Signature Frags. I don't know if they're going to be able to see a bit better.
That would be cool.
Got a bit of, I don't know.
I'll put you full screen there.
I did a little water change only, say about half an hour ago, but there they are. So there's 4 of them still live, doing well.
So what's the green one at the back, Jay?
Growth. That's called. Oops, sorry, I'm moving the camera. That's called Stubstellata.
All right.
It's good, isn't it, that one?
Yeah, it's quite bright, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super bright. And as you know me and the corals, I quite like bright corals.
Yeah.
So, I absolutely love the sticks, actually. I was all about the torches, but now when you see the shapes of the sticks, the coloration and like the textures, you can really get into having SPS. So I'm
There we go.
I'm absolutely loving it. So it's it was a bit of a trial thing to see if I could grow them in the nano. Obviously I'm a beginner, so I've never done it before. I'm just and they seem to be all right, actually.
Yeah, it's looking good, mate.
Yeah, the alkalinity is stable and salinity is stable, which I think probably helped with the SPS. Temperatures, well, we've had a few hot days. We've had a few hot days in the Midlands. We reached about 27 degrees. So my fans, I've had days where my fans have never been off. Constantly, it's blowing the fish around the tank. They're always on.
Jeez.
I know. So that's how hot it's been.
So, really? Because
going back to SPS, sorry.
I was going to say the three tanks, my temperature hasn't gone above 25.8 degrees in any of the three tanks. I've just had the windows closed, and it's been 29 degrees on some days.
What, outside?
In the last week or so. Yeah. But as I said last week, I just keep the windows closed, got the vents open so you get a little bit of air coming in, and that seems to do a trick. Unless it reaches over 30, the tanks don't tend to go above 26 degrees, regardless. And this is like a 1930s house, so it's not as if it's good, as we was having a conversation the other day, Ross. It's not as if the insulation is really good, because it's pretty crap.
You must have like church walls or something. That's why the Wi-Fi is not getting to your computer.
That's what it is.
Possibly. I've switched to the iPad, and I'm just now coming off of 4G.
Yeah, my temperature on my tank's been perfect actually this week. It's sat kind of steady, 25.5, 25.6, and hasn't really jumped about at all, to be honest with you. So it's been pretty good, to be fair.
So we just hit the post.
Focus, Jay. Focus.
Oh, what a head! Sorry, your tank's been 25.5. What, solid?
Welcome to the conversation, mate.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, 25.5, 25.6. It's sat around about that kind of fluctuating there. It's not went up or down at all. The only time the fan kicked on once, but it was when I had switched the return pump off to feed them. So obviously you get the off a wee bit, but no, it's been fine since then. Like Paul says, though, I keep the windows shut and the insulation and so on in the house, and I've got new windows as well. So it seems to work really well actually. And the tank, touch wood anyway, stayed a relatively stable temperature. Now obviously we don't have as hot a weather as you guys do, but we're still up. There was a couple of days I think we were up 27, 28. So
I saw that in certain parts of Scotland was way up to 28 degrees, wasn't it, on certain days? And I've seen today it seems quite sunny in Scotland, where it's just rained all day long here. Yeah,
it was quite nice today, to be fair. So can't complain at that. I just wanted to pick up this one. Two comments here I want to pick up before we forget. So Coral Reef Queens have asked, have you picked names?
Falling in love with mistakes.
All right, sorry mate. So Coral Reef Queens has asked if I've picked names for the clownfish yet. So I did put a poll up on Instagram with all different names. So loads and loads of good suggestions, but I think I'm going to go with Cookie and Cream for the names. So that's the clownfish.
That's nice. I like that.
So Cookie, because 2 or 3 people said you should call her Cookie because she's a tough cookie, and I thought, yep, I can go with that. Cookie's a good one.
Yeah.
And then Cream goes with Cookies, plus it's a guy and Cream, so just it's one of those things. So yeah, I went Cookies, Cream. So that's the 2 names for them.
Who's Cream? The guy's Cream, or the guy?
Yeah, the guy's Cream.
All right. That works. It works, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah. I think so anyway, mate. The second one that I want to pick up on is a comment from Shane Emery, who's saying he's going on vacation, which I think means holiday. And asked on any suggestions on prep. So I'm assuming he means for the tank.
Yeah.
So there's a few things I would do. Yeah. So there's a few things I would do. I would run if you're going away for a week, for example, I would run the tank a week before how you would when you're away. Also, make sure that I think the main thing for me would be making sure you're auto top up. So on the tank, well, you can't see it tonight, but behind me usually it's a Red Sea one. So I fitted a different auto top up, and make sure you have enough water for that. Get a decent auto feeder if you're going to feed it yourself. So Hindu battery operated. There we go.
That's the
It's
one.
almost like we was prepared. So that one. If someone's going to come and feed the tank, and you're feeding pellets, measure out the pellets. So have little pots. So if it's 7 nights, then do the pots for 7 nights. The reason being, I found that neighbours or friends and family get overzealous with the feeding because they say, the fish look really hungry. And then they'll pile loads of food in, and you come back to high nitrates, loads of algae. And if you've got more sensitive corals, that will potentially kill them off. So I found just measuring it out and then hide the rest of the food. So they can't feed anything other than that. What else do I do? I think that's the main thing. Do a tester, because something is occasionally I'll put a different kit in for that. So I'll test it for a few days, because what you don't want to do is it fails or it works for one day. And also on the auto feeder, you can measure it out. So, and it's quite clunky. You slide it across. Jay, I don't know if you can see it on yours. You slide the opening, open and close. So you've got to make sure that if you're doing things like flake, crush it really up, use smaller pellets, because if you're using bigger pellets, it can sometimes block it all up. I think that's about it.
Flake in them pots? Flake food kind of go all mushy in that.
Yeah. So I just crush all the flake up, and then it just goes in. So it makes no difference. But you find with a bigger flake, again, when there's a tumbler on it, so that the tumbler will obviously turn, and you set it up how long you want it. So that's why I test it, because you can see how much is coming out. Because it's quite hard when you first set it up to know exactly how much flake and that's going to come out. So in a way, it's better if someone comes in and feeds it, because at least you can measure it out. But if that's not possible, then use that. I think that's about it, really. It is better for someone to come in just in case something gets blocked up.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that helps, whoever was asking, because I can't see the comments because I'm on the iPad, right. But I don't know who asked that. So I don't know if that's any good, or if anyone else has got any other suggestions.
It was Shane Emery that asked that, so hopefully that's kind of answered the question. UKM 120 is just put kind of what you had said there, Paul, about putting them in the kind of medicine pots. So
yeah. So as I use Red Sea, you get the Red Sea little tubs, don't you? Whenever you buy something, they get a little plastic pot that goes on top. So I've always used those, because I've used those for years. You have 7 of those pots lined up, and say, whatever you do not feed more than 1 pot a day. I don't tend to, because quite often people put their tanks onto feed mode, obviously when they're feeding. So that's probably not going to happen unless someone's really confident. I'll end up turning the tank off rather than putting it onto to feed mode. Yeah. I've had someone in the past where they're in the house, I've then switched to feed mode, must admit, it don't really matter too much.
Yeah, so one of the things that I don't know if you're the same, Jay, but do you turn off your return pump when you feed in your tank? Because if I don't turn off the return pump when I feed, it just sucks everything back to the surface skimmer again, and that's it, kind of gone. So I don't know how you kind of do. You probably need to get them in a tank like that to turn off the return pump.
Yeah, I think one of the issues, I turn my return pump like you do, Ross, and the waves off, turn all the pumps and the waves. I think it's such a little tank, they quickly move the food into the reservoir and the filters rather than just keeping it in the tank. I'm a bit worried about mine because my pellets tend to float, but I've got kind of a goby that he's always a bottom feeder. He's under the rocks and things, and then my shrimp, he kind of graze at the bottom. So I'm just hoping I haven't set it up yet, but I'm hoping that some of the pellets do sink after a minute or so. Otherwise, I'm worried that they're not going to get fed properly.
What you can get this, if you look it up, you can get like a ring that floats on the surface, or you attach it, and then the food goes into that, and then it sinks in there, because that would stop it going down the back of the back of the tank. So that might help. To be fair, even if they got half the food they usually do every day, they'd be fine. Because you know, sometimes if I'm out and I just don't feed the fish for a day, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
The issue for us, well, the issue for me is my skimmer, because I've only got a tiny little skimmer. It gets full within 2 days, and then obviously it spills into the sump. So that's a big. I mean, that's the issue that I've got. How do you keep?
So Jay, I take it
around keeping the sump.
I tell you what you could do. Switch the skimmer off for a week. So try it for a week.
Yeah.
Try it for a week, turning your skimmer off for a week. So do it next week, for example, and then see what your parameters are like. I know there's other things it sucks out, not just nitrate and phosphate, but I suspect you could turn your skimmer off for a week and you'd be fine. You come back, do a water change, stick it back on. But try it next week or tomorrow and see what happens in a week's time. I suspect you'll be. I mean, I've had times when my skimmer hasn't worked for a week for whatever reason, and I just left it, and it's been fine.
I mean, I don't run a skimmer, Jay. I don't run one at all. So, you know, my tank sits okay without a skimmer, but I know there's a shock to the system if you've been using a skimmer and then doesn't. So you'd probably need to try and kind of wean it off that, I dare say. But like Paul says, I think that would probably work, to be fair, if it was only for a week or so.
No, that's a good point, actually. No, thank you, because that's the bit I was worried about when I was leaving it.
Yeah, and if you're, obviously you've got a temperature controller, so I'd make sure you got a temperature controller anyway, regardless of whether you're going away or not, because this time of year, if the heater was to fail, you've got more of a problem if your tank was to heat up than if it was to cool down. But if I went away, if I had someone coming in, I'd probably have 2 heaters running and 2 temperature controllers, just to be super careful, and you just run them at 1 degree different on the temperature controller. So if one fails, obviously the other one kicks in, because you don't want both working. That's another option you can do. But it depends on what the outside temperature is. But if the outside temperature is like 23, 24, 25, inside it probably reflect that, and your corals and fish will be okay, because the temperature would go down gradually. So usually it's more of a problem if your your tank overheats than if it cools down. Obviously, if it goes to silly degrees, it's going to wipe the whole thing out. But that's another thing to consider. So I would consider 2 heaters. I think you guys are both. I know, Jay, you got 2 pumps, haven't you? So if one of your pumps went, you'd be okay because you got another pump. So you'd have enough with the return flow and the power head. That would be enough to keep the oxygen going around in the tank. Some of the corals might sulk, but it's probably not going to wipe the tank because you've got sufficient oxygen to keep the fish alive. And if it's good enough for the fish, it's probably good enough for the corals for a week, I suspect. Just there's a little bit of movement in there. So that's something else to consider. It's kind of your return pump, your power head, and your heater is probably the main ones. The return pump's only a major issue if you dose. Because if you think about it, if your return pump didn't work for a week and you got your power head going, as long as you're not polluting the tank too much, you'd probably be okay. But that really depends on your setup.
2 weeks. You keep saying a week, Paul. Is that kind of the ideal limit for a holiday? When you're going over the week mark, are you kind of pushing it a little bit unless somebody comes in and does a water change? And if you keep saying a week, I've never left my tank.
So I've done 10 days. I've been away for 10 days. Since I've had the tank, that's the longest I've been away for, which was 10 nights. And it was fine. When I came back, you couldn't see the fish. The glass was so crappy. But once you cleaned it up, it was fine. I cleaned it. I did a bit of a water change. Within a couple of days, everything was back to normal. There's no reason why 14 days or 21 days it's not okay. It's just a case of how long the stuff you have, whether it be dosing or other stuff like that, you could handle. So if your auto feeder was okay for 2 weeks, and then your auto top off was okay for 2 weeks, other than your glass, there's no reason why the tank wouldn't be okay unless anything failed. I must prefer it when someone comes in, because if there was a problem, they can phone me, and then you can obviously FaceTime and you can sort it out. But it's just as big a risk if you don't. I'm not saying the point again. Someone comes in and you let them feed from the pots. You're going to come back and it's going to be all over the place. I know people that the algae has just been gone through the roof, and the nitrates have gone through the roof because they've fed pellets and they've overfed. It doesn't take much overfeeding the pellets to spike your nitrates and your phosphate.
I think it's one of those things that, like we said earlier, you could almost do a 3-week trial, like months before you go away on holiday, and almost leave it, other than dropping in your set amount of food, and you could do some water tests and see exactly what happens, and you'll know then how long you'll get away with. You could get away with a couple of weeks. I mean, obviously, if you're away, Jay, you could shut the curtains in that room so you're not getting the natural light in, which will help things a wee bit. It'll not be as hot, and it's probably worth testing anyway. See.
Yeah.
But there's no comment there that Dr. Tim's advised not running skimmers 24/7. I have heard that people saying that they only run their skimmers. I can't remember if they said they run them for like 7 hours at night time or if it was during the day or something. But there is, I've heard quite a few people talking about that.
I've heard that as well, and certainly I think I know one person who runs their skimmer at night because it helps with pH, because obviously the bubbles and the oxygen, and doesn't run it during the day. I mean, skimmers have been, I suppose, have been a butter of a tank for a number of years, but there's so many other things now, isn't there, that help run a tank. I don't know because if you look at it, people look about nitrate and phosphates, and as I say, it does pull other crap out that other things don't. So I haven't seen enough or read enough to say that actually you shouldn't run a skimmer. But I know of people that do and say they do, and there's not a problem whatsoever. I think it's every tank each their own, isn't it? I know it definitely helps with oxygen and pH, certainly overnight. So there's a benefit there. And some people have pipes that run to the outside of their tank to bring in more oxygen to help their pH be more consistent. And some people have an issue with pH in their rooms and everything else, and can't necessarily open the windows and stuff like that. Touch wood, I've never had a problem. Just with just a vent open, that seems to create enough air in this room, because the tank's right by the window, but it never gets sunlight other than 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Other than that, it's never got sunlight on the tank, so it's not an issue.
Yeah, the same for me. The sun's actually at the back of my house pretty much from lunchtime onwards. So the front of my house, the tank sits in the front of the house. I've got the vent open in that room, and that's it. You know, it seems to sit quite stable. So I think, providing you've not got sunlight beating on it, you should be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a few people in the chat saying just switch it off. So that's good. It's reassuring that I can do that. And then Shane's put he's got a nano skimmer, and they flood so easily. As soon as you do a water change like I've done, there'll be a lot of skim mate coming off at the moment, and then it starts to slow down. I'm guessing skimmers do fluctuate in their activity, but mine does quite a lot. Sometimes it floods very easily. So switch it off. That's the plan.
You could reduce your feeding when you go away. So if you get your auto feeder working, and say you've fed 3/4 of what you usually do, that's not going to hurt the fish. So in which case, by taking that bio load down a little bit, switch your skimmer off, it might counter it a little bit. So there's a different way of doing that. But I would definitely test it for a few days, because the auto feeders can be a little bit finicky to try and sort and set up and try and get the exact amount of pellets and out, and also choosing which one. So I don't know if the pellets you use, Jay, whether they're quite big or not.
Yeah, so I really like these. I think you use them as well, don't you, Ross?
Is it the probiotics ones?
Yeah, those ones. Yeah, they're not cheap though, but they last a long time.
Oh, they're really good, to be fair.
They are. The fish love them.
I've only used kind of that since I got it, and I've had that for a couple of months.
I just get the ones that I use when I'm away.
Yeah. And
these are really, really small pellets, aren't they?
Yeah, tiny pellets, but then they keep your phosphates down as well, don't they? Apparently.
They do float as well,
I really
Jay,
like them, but they do tend to float rather than sink, don't they?
These are the ones that I use when I go away. They're really small pellets.
Okay.
If you can see them.
Marine. Yeah.
Hikari ones, and I've had them. I've been using these for years. I mean, I tend to feed mostly frozen now because of the pipefish and the mandarin, but they're really small, and so they're really good for the auto feeders. Yeah.
Some people actually put in the comments about using a plastic pipe. Is that something that you buy, or is that something that you just make yourself? I don't know, but that would then cause the pellets to drop down. There's a few of those.
So you could probably make one yourself, Jay, and just get a couple of the kind of suction cup holders that you would hold a heater on with. You know, the kind of ones that just got the wee clamp around them. and put that directly underneath it. So if it sits up out the water at the top, some of the food will drop into that. Obviously, it won't all, but some will drop into that. Go down. It'll sit in there, but eventually it will sink down, and then your fish at the bottom will get that as well. So Black Pearl Reef's comment is actually quite a good idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea. That's one way of getting around it, Jay.
Yeah,
but I would try it out and make sure it works and try and do it well in advance. Otherwise, you're going to be, I know how much you don't worry about your tank. So by doing that in advance.
I think if you were going on holiday, mate, the best thing you could do is just switch off the camera.
No, the camera is definitely staying on. The little trusty, the Google camera.
Spy cam.
But I think the best thing to do is get someone in. Is get someone in, Jay. Get someone into 50. You've got someone you can trust who's just going to feed the tank. You could still turn off the skimmers so they're not messing around. Because someone starts messing around at the back, you never know what's going to go on, do you? And will your auto top off last the amount of time you need before you when you're out?
So I the original one is I think 3 days, which sits back here. But I took that out and put my dosing lines there, and now I've got a glass tank underneath.
You got the Tunzi, haven't you? You got the Tunzi one.
I've got the Tunzi. Yeah, we love the Tunzi on here, don't we? Yeah, I've got. The
Tunzi,
I mean,
I've got the Tunzi. Yeah. What is it? The one with the 2 or 3 sensors on it? Because there's 2 different ones, but there's.
Mine's a single sensor.
Yeah, so one I've got I think is for a bigger tank, and I think it's got 2 sensors on it. It's got both a float and optical sensor, so you've got a bit of redundancy there as well. Because usually, if you've got that kind of sensor in your sump, got a load of crap and everything else that can build up on it, so that really helps.
There was
okay, look, Black Pearl Reef there. Comment.
I actually quite like the idea of glass. It looks a little bit more upmarket, doesn't it? It looks a bit more.
Yeah, I like when you see some of the like planted aquascapes that you get in the freshwater world, where they're all the glass, everything's glass in it. It looks really, really nice when you see them that way.
Yeah, it's premium.
Yeah, but Jay, you're not there, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's as cheap as chips.
On my Google Nest Cam, I'll be able to see it.
So I think we see
going to go
differently.
OCD.
My shrimp's been through enough without going on starvation. Through enough, bless him.
Right, I'm just going back up to find a comment because there was one that I wanted to put on the screen that was a bit
but Jay, when you're away, right? If you're away for a few days, you're going to get algae on the glass. So it doesn't matter about looking at your camera. You're not going to see anything.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You need to install a window wiper.
Take it out when you weren't here. Anyway, you said about getting someone round who can look after it. My only fish friends are you guys. So unless you're going to, can you nip up there for me? How far is it? About 120 miles?
It depends on the traffic. You're probably talking about 3-4 hour round trip. So probably not. I mean, I have babysat tanks before, and I've had people phone me up and say, "Oh my God, I've actually had a camera on a tank, and the tank looked a bit wobbly." So I went round there at 11:30 in the evening, and the heater went, and the temperature was down at 19 degrees. So I ended up going round there. When I went round, I ended up taking RO, salt water, just in case. So I ended up saving the guy's tank just by putting a heater in there. I didn't warm it up quickly; it heated up over a day or so. But so that's why I think redundancy on the heater, Jay.
Yeah, I've got a spare heater and a spare pump, and one friend who doesn't have a tank.
But all they've got to do, Jay, is come in and feed.
My holiday exchange. Is anybody in Derbyshire who's watching this who wants to do a holiday exchange? Let me know. I'll look after yours and you look after mine, as it were.
What are we talking about there, mate?
Sorry, it's reef tanks.
So there's a question there from Rich564. It's saying, am I right in thinking there's no need to cycle the tank if there's no fish, only corals? We did touch on this in a previous live stream, and I think that's correct, isn't it? Because I think Reef King had commented on that basically to say that, you know, he had done that with his and it worked quite well, I believe.
So I think it depends on the corals. So would I put So if you're not transferring any media or anything else, so you're talking about a totally sterile tank. Would I do it that way? No. Could you do it that way? Yes. I personally wouldn't put SPS in because I just think it's too soon. It's not to say people haven't done it and it hasn't worked. I usually wait until you get the purple stuff that's gone completely out of my mind what it's called. You got the, I'll think of it in a moment.
Carolina
For
algae,
SPS. Yes, Carolina. So I don't usually put SPS in until I got coralline algae, but then that's just my preference. Prestige Reef, when he set up the mega builds, he when he set up the tanks, he didn't cycle the tanks, but he did put fish in. The issue that I had, so I actually had a frag tank that I set up, and I put corals in after I cycled the tank because I did it through Fishless Cycle, so it was ghost feeding the tank. And then when I put corals in an SPS, the tips of the SPS were burning because there was insufficient nutrients in the tank, and only when I added fish in did it help the corals stabilize and start growing again, because the food poo is really good for corals. So do I think you could? Yes, but I think then you've got to supplement the corals with food, and I don't think there's any better substitute than fish poo and crud and stuff like that. So can you do it? Yes, I think you can. Could you do it with softies and LPS? Yes, less of a risk. SPS, personally, I wouldn't, but you can. Wait for coralline algae. I wouldn't run a coral only tank. I would have fish in there for that reason, because the fish feed the coral.
I haven't seen
You usually always see some kind of fish in the tanks with them, wouldn't you?
normally at least 1 or 2 fish in there, isn't there?
Yeah, you do see it where people get ick and velvet and they go fallow for a period of time, like 72 days or whatever it is that people leave their tank fallow. But I wouldn't do that. So I don't know if Rich that helps. So yes, you can, but you've got to substitute fish poo with something else, and I wouldn't set it up straight away unless it was softies. But then if you've got softies in a new tank, they're not going to thrive because they like a bit of dirty water. You put GSP, xenium and stuff like that with virtually zero nitrates and phosphate, you're probably not going to get the best results, because they do you can run, tanks with 25, 30 nitrate, 0.5 phosphate, and your softies will absolutely love it. You might get an algae outbreak and you get really dirty glass, but your softies and your mushrooms will thrive in that. You take it too low, quite often they shrivel up.
Yeah, every ecosystem thrives on biodiversity, doesn't it? It's absolutely key. So the more kind of life forms that you've got in your tank, the better it will do and thrive.
Yeah,
so the fish,
that's
corals,
a really good.
The inverts, the snails, the microbacteria, all adds to a healthy reef. So if you're limiting it to one area, you're not, you're going to hinder the growth of the ecosystem over time.
And that's why where people were setting up tanks maybe 3 or 4 years ago with live rock, they'd have less issues, less dino outbreaks, cyano, because you've got very good like Actasia and other things like that.
You're away there, Paul.
So just going back to the last question. So just going back, there was a previous question, wasn't there? That was on there.
The one from Jamie about the light.
Hey, Lucid Reef. Well, I got a freebie then, I think, or something. I can buy something then. It's like a shopping channel. Lucid Reef.
Is that one Paul you're talking about from Jamie?
Yeah. So on this one, Jamie, when I set up the 900, I actually cycled the tank for 11 weeks with no light. And the rationale behind that was to build up the bacteria, and so therefore to reduce the ugly stage, because I used dry rock and I used dry sand on it. And it worked. After 11 weeks, I then started putting some fish in. I didn't put corals in for about another 3-4 weeks after, but because there was no light, and then I ramped the light up over 3 weeks, I virtually had zero nuisance algae. I had a little bit of diatoms, and then I had a little bit of algae on the rocks, but hardly any ugly stage. So to me, it works. So that shows you that relationship between lower light and nutrients.
Yeah. There's a Rich has replied to you there, Paul, about that one. So saying it's going to be his quarantine tank, they can set up a display.
Okay. So you're going to quarantine them.
The corals.
There's no reason. There's no reason why you couldn't have a fish though. So you could have. So for instance, if you've got a quarantine tank, having something like a wrasse. Wrasse are really good at picking at critters that come in. So if you brought in on that LPS or any kind of coral, something that's really it's gonna harm your tank, then wrasse are really good. Also, damsels are good, like a Springer damsel. They're probably one of the least aggressive fish. So having like a Springer damsel or a wrasse in there, they will pick at corals when they go in there. Not the corals, but if anything, any nuisance, any hitchhikers come in, they can help kill them. Because so that can help in part of quarantining your corals. So just a full, that way you get a fish in a small tank, you get your nutrients and everything else and go for there. So therefore you'd cycle the tank to put the fish in, because if it's been in a fish shop and it's been in really good conditions and you put it in a quarantine that's totally sterile, I'm not too sure that's going to be, I know what you're trying to achieve, I'm not too sure that's going to help the coral.
Yeah.
So just a fault.
No, that's quite good, mate. There was a comment back up here that I want to go back to from Black Pearl Reef. Not a funny one this time. This is him, a serious comment. So he has cyano. What would you recommend for method of attack?
I've got cyano as well. I've got some cyano. Yeah. Only
so
I would say, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, go on, Joe. You go first.
Yeah, it started to cover. I'd say about 8% of the scape at the moment with this red kind of stringy algae. I've tried to get some of it off in that recent water change that I've just done. So I've tried to kind of get the siphon right next to it, scrape it off the rock, and suck it straight out on the siphon. So I'm hoping that helps to clear the scape up. But yeah, I've had a little bit, and that's what I did. Toothbrush and straight out with the siphon.
Yeah.
I don't know if it works.
So every year around about June time, I've had cyano in this tank behind me. So for the last 5 years. And I put it down to, I don't know if it's pollen or whatever else. If I get it in this particular month, and this is just, I don't know if it's unique to the tank that I've got. I don't know. So in which case I've got it at the moment, I'll just leave it. Because I think it's down to the outside conditions. Usually I find cyano is created by an imbalance from what I've read and when I've had it between nitrates and phosphates. So trying to understand where the imbalance is and trying to correct that is one thing. Also depends how long the tank's been running, because newer tanks are more susceptible to cyano, I find. So if it's under 12 months, I would put things like live brine shrimp in, more copepods, and try and put more critters in to help with the bacteria to fight it. Also, if your nutrients are too low, try and increase your nutrients a little bit, because that can help as well. So that's what I've used in the park.
I think he's gone again.
Oh dear, it's terrible down there.
It must be all the Scotsmen down there hacking into his Wi-Fi. That's all it is.
Am I back?
You're
Can
back.
you hear me now?
Yeah.
So you can use ChemiClean, and the problem with ChemiClean is it can strip oxygen out of the tank, so you have to follow the instructions and do big water changes. I think it's ChemiClean, and you can get that, so that can help with cyano. It won't solve the root cause, but it does seem to get rid of it. So it could come back if there's an imbalance.
The common one's
so I don't know
cyano RX, isn't it? But
I was going to say there's a lot of people said cyano RX.
Yeah, that's the one.
Cyano RX.
That's what I will use if it breaks out into a big problem. I'm going to use cyano RX.
Somebody said here, Jamie said, read the Essex Guide to Cyano on Ultimate Reef. So I've not read that, but The other one,
I know Essex. I know Essex. He's a really good guy. He actually lives quite near to me. He's a really experienced reefer. Ultimate Reef. I don't know if anyone's on Ultimate Reef. I think it's a really good. It's an old style forum. Been around for donkey's years. There are some people on there that are really snooty, like traditional reefers that hate Facebook and hate Instagram. But it's some really good reefers on there, really experienced people that have helped me in the past. And there's some really good tank threads on there as well.
I signed up
so
to it
it's
this week
worth a
actually,
read.
just to see
Cool.
what it was all about. So I've joined that this week, just to have a look, and it's one of those things where you're never ever going to get through all the stuff that's there. So I've just had to kind of stop that and look at the new stuff that's going to come on, because there's so much stuff on it. It's unreal.
Yeah. Also, the way I access that, if you download an app called Tapatalk, you can then get notifications on your phone. And
Or maybe you won't, Paul.
Maybe you won't. Is this why? Have you seen the comment by Ames Spirit Fish? Says, please suggest other live streams. Is that because this one keeps dropping out and she wants to find another one to watch instead?
I think Ames Spirit Fish is not too happy with us then.
Or I just say it makes me laugh, honest. Or is she just looking for other things to watch? I don't think there is many other live streams, is there?
No, that's who I should sub to. So I would say probably the best ones will be Jay's Real Reef, Fishpalace, Mogsy's Aquarium, and Bearded Reef. That's the ones you should sub to.
Who should we sub to? There's loads of people. What about Sea Friendly Reef? He's a really good guy, wasn't he?
Yeah. There's another one here, Jay. I don't know if it was from Coral Reef Queens again. Flow as well for cyano. I've got an area of low flow, and that's where I got some cyano. So
yeah, that's true.
Low flow for that.
Yeah.
Luckily, touch wood, for me, I've not had any yet. So fingers crossed I don't get any more.
Yeah.
But
so mine turned up 2 weeks after removing my second power head. So everybody was saying, oh, my torches are getting blown around. So my torches are now happy, but now I've got a bit of cyano. So it's like, oh, for God's sake! It's like with these little mixed reefs, you move one thing and then you upset something else. So now the torches are really happy, but there's not enough flow on the back of the scape, and that's where the cyano is. So it's sitting where there's low flow. So
you're never really going to win. You're not going to win with that, Jay. I think that's one of the things I learned when I first started out. I thought, I'll have a mixed reef tank, it'll be easy, I'll have a little bit of everything, but turns out that's not quite the case, is it?
No, it's not.
Absolutely.
So Backship Reefers joined us.
We need some more space, that's what we need.
We should call Backship Reefer now part-time reefer, because he turns out he watches the football and then joins us. So
he's got no loyalties. Backship Reefer's got no loyalties, has he?
Nah, none of whatsoever, mate.
Only he's going to tune in for 10 minutes and that's it, and then he's going to clear off again. I can't believe it's 0-0 at half time. I can't believe that.
I know there's not a lot going on because I can't hear much shouting going on from the living room.
Yeah, so my cyano has been caused by low flow, and hopefully I'll see if it comes back, and if it does, I'm going to look at Cyano RX, because the chemically stuff that Paul talked about, that's kind of severe outbreaks, and is a last resort really if you've got cyano.
So the only thing that I was thinking there now, obviously I've tried Vibrant for algae. Does it work on cyano or does it not?
Vibrant algae, I think cyano's a bacteria, isn't it? So it's different.
Yeah, I just wondered if it would work on it or not though.
Yeah, so
I don't know. I haven't used it before. I've used Vibrant before to clear up some crud, but not for bacteria.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Oh, one of the things I was going to ask you actually, Paul, how are you getting on with the Alpha Reef?
Oh yeah, done that, yeah.
So far so good. I would say so. I did the video last week, didn't I? So the magnesium is increasing. All three elements are increasing. What will be interesting to see once they've got to where they want to, does it balance out, or does, say, alkalinity keep going or not? So far, so good. I'm only dosing 2 ml a day, and that's deliberate. I'm going to do that for 3 to 4 weeks, see how that goes, and then increase it from that. But as I said before, what I like about it is you've got one dosing line. that I'm using, rather than on the 450 where I need 3 dosing heads because I'm doing individually. But then I'm dosing a hell of a lot on that tank, and there is a variation between, alkalinity 70, calcium is about 28 milliliters, and magnesium is 20. So I don't think dosing it all at the same level would work on the tank behind me. I don't think, and I wouldn't change it now anyway. But we'll see. So when I've done the last test, it's gradually creeping up. So that's what I wanted it to do, because obviously the corals are now beginning to feed and to use up elements. So that's a positive. So after only using it for a short period of time, I would say, it seems to be doing well. But I think I think about 3 months before I reserve judgment, because that way it should have stabilised. It should be into a routine and see where it goes from now. And I think also then I would switch from liquid to powder, because powder is substantially cheaper than liquid. But obviously you've got to mix it and mess around with it.
Yeah.
What size tank is that for 2 mil a day?
It's only 170 litres. It's probably it's beginning to creep up, so it's not a lot. 2 millilitres, 170 litres.
Mine and Ross's.
I probably need about 0.5 of a mil, maybe, even if that.
Half a mil. I'm just looking what I dose now. I can't remember what I'm dosing, so mine is...
But if you look at the kind of corals I've got quite a big piece of Setosa. I've now put in about 4 or 5 pieces of platin Monty, and I've got a lime in the sky frag. So it's not that much from an SPS, and I find that LPS doesn't usually take up that much. So it's really it's trying to get it balanced before I start adding some more SPS, because that's what I usually find SPS can consume it quite hard. Then when they start growing, that's when in a smaller tank your alkalinity will really go pretty quick.
Yeah, they love alkalinity and calcium. They suck it up, don't they? Yeah, that's what mine's running. So magnesium is, sorry, it's a bit blurry. Magnesium.
What's that? 14, 15? Yeah.
Yeah, and then calcium is 1.5 mil a day.
Okay.
And then alkalinity is 3.8 mil per day. And I've got a 75 litre tank. So it's still small quantities. So 0.5 mil of magnesium, 1.5 of calcium, and 4 mil of alkalinity. Now, surprising, I don't know if this is a coincidence, but it wasn't until I started dosing calcium that I got coralline algae forming. I don't know if that was something to do with it. I don't know if that helped to drive it a little bit. But soon as I started to dose calcium, it then started to grow coralline on the back. I've got like spots of it now in different areas. And it's all over the rock.
Because it feeds off the elements like a normal coral. Hence why I like to have coralline algae in the tank first before I put SPS in, because it's a good sign. Obviously, you've got to bring it in on something, and quite often, I think someone said before, they don't know how it came into their tank, and quite often it'll come on the shells of snails and crabs, and also on frag plugs as well.
Yeah.
Oh, my
but I've had.
I clean my snails when they look a bit grubby. Oh, he's gone again.
He's gone. I think you must be the only one that polished your snails, Jay.
Oh no.
Well, one of them had a bit of algae on it, so I was like, "You're coming out, and you're getting scrubbed down and then going back in."
Did you get the power washer out? Did you?
It's like a spa resort for a snail. Came out, had a nice salt water dip, scrubbed him down with a toothbrush, and then put him back in. He's all right. Yeah. I don't know. Just didn't want him spreading algae spores everywhere.
No, that's one of the things.
5 mil a day. What's that? Ultra Reef, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because Julie was one of the ones that recommended it when I decided to go for that. There was, I think there was at least 4 or 5 people that said try that. So that's what I decided to do. I remember Julie talking about it or commenting on it.
So we were actually speaking about this during the week, and I think it's Bravo 20 that's in here. He had says that he adds his to the ATO top-off reservoir. So he just adds in, I think he said when he adds in like a set amount of water, he knows how much Alpha Reef to add in so that it keeps the right volume. And I suppose that's quite a relatively easy way to do it as well.
The only thing with that is you sometimes get a variation in how much evaporation you get in your tank.
Yeah.
Will it be enough to upset the corals? Probably not. But you couldn't guarantee that, say, for example, your tank was to evaporate a litre a day, because it does vary. I find if the humidity is higher, but like it is at the moment, there's been less evaporation in the two tanks in the garage I've found the last couple of weeks, and prior to that. So it's just the evaporation's actually has been lower recently, because I haven't topped them up as much.
Yeah, so it's more the humidity rather than the heat itself as such that's
I
causing
hadn't really thought about it until then, other than I'm doing less topping up of the water chambers.
Mm-hmm.
So less evap.
Yeah, that's a good point, I suppose. But I don't. Yeah,
But if it works for you, then fine.
Yeah, I've heard quite a few folks saying that they do that, and it seems to work for them. But again, I don't have a need to dose yet, so I've not started it. But I think when I do, I'll probably go down the Alpha Reef route, to be honest with you, because it seems the easiest one to do anyway.
Well, you got one. All you need is one doser, one tube, and you're salted. And also, do you do water changes every week, Ross?
Yeah, every week I do 20%.
Yeah, so that will help to replenish it anyway. So if you think
about
you're topping up every week, 20% every week, that it'll come a point when it's not enough. But for what you've got quite a few Zoas, haven't you? And an LPS, so they're probably not going to be too heavy.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah, and if Julie's doing.
What was that, sorry?
Don't be killing that Recordia mushroom. I love your Recordia mushroom.
No, it's still growing healthy, mate. I've actually tucked it round out the way of the flow a wee bit more, and it started to grow a hell of a lot quicker. I think it was getting just a bit too much flow.
I've
moved it round. Well, it's strange because it's got, I don't quite know the proper, it looks like it's got 4 separate heads on it now. It's got 4 separate mouths, and seems to have split, but I don't know how I'm going to get it off the bit of rock that it's on. You know, it seems unless I break up all the rock that it's on, then I don't know how I'm going to get them off, to be honest with you.
It's a stunning coral. I saw it on Instagram. You posted it, didn't you, earlier this week?
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning, Recordia.
There's a nice one. And it was just a chance buy as well.
And what's happened to the tube nem, dare I ask? Because we certainly haven't talked about it a while. What's going on?
You weren't here for the live stream.
Oh, was this the one before 2 weeks ago? No, I was away, weren't I?
Yeah. So it's dead, mate. The crab got it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
So is that a blessing in disguise or not? I don't know.
Well, I think it's a blessing in disguise with regards to the tube nem, but it proves that the crab really is indestructible, which probably isn't a blessing in disguise. So
no, because it can't then go back into the main tank, can it? Because it's going to absolutely chew everything up, and you'll end up with carnage. It's
very kind of Sea-Friendly Reef, Tobias, to take it off your hands, though. That was very nice.
He did say that he would take it as well.
Are you going to box it up and put it on a KLM flight or something?
I might hand deliver it to him, mate. That might be the best thing to do.
Deliver it.
And then he can sneak it into one of the tanks. Yeah.
I could get G4S to deliver it. That's probably a safer bet, I would say.
Yes. Yeah, I think you should. Sorry, my phone went off and I've got no football on.
Oh, no.
I'm panicking because I know Backshift Reefer was my canary in the coal mine. He's gone now because he's gone to watch the second half. he's cleared off.
It's still half time. The adverts are on, so you're all right.
Still half time.
Oh, there we go. Julie said that the recorder will fall off and land on the sandbed, then go where they want. So if it does that, then that's good.
Yeah. Can I ask about wrasse? Okay, so I've got 4 fish at the moment, and I'm looking for something really colourful, like super bright now, but doesn't hide under rocks and sits on rocks. So I'm looking for something that's going to be in the water column that is super bright, because none of my other fish are bright. Now, I really like the look of those banana wrasse. They look super bright. I keep saying that, but anyway. And obviously, they're very active. So, but can I put them in a 20 litre? That's the thing. And the more I see, the more I think not. But someone said, oh, if you get a really little one, like a 2-inch one, that could be okay. 2 inches quite a baby one, as it were. But once it goes to 5-inch, I need to upgrade, obviously, or 4-inch.
Yeah, so
But yeah,
so not all
anybody
not all wrasse grow big. So I've got a Richmond wrasse that I didn't realise that's now 4 or 5 inches, but it's okay in that tank. Peacock wrasse are one absolutely superb looking wrasse,
Yeah,
and I found they do not grow that big. So my clownfish are bigger than the peacock wrasse. I've got 3 peacock wrasse in the tank. Had them for 3, maybe 4 years now, and I thought they would grow bigger, and they haven't. So they are smaller than the clownfish. And the clownfish I got in there are common clowns, so they're not like big maroon clowns. So you could try a peacock wrasse, and they are stunning in terms of colour. The only thing with wrasse, you really got to be careful. Make sure you see them eat in the shop, because they don't ship very well. So they have been known to damage their mouths within transit, and so therefore they don't eat very well and they die. I find with wrasse, if they get through the first 48 hours, you'll be fine, because quite often they could dive into the sand because they get scared and they never come out. That's only happened to one fish that I've had. All the other wrasse I've had, touch would have been fine. I've seen some people transport them home in a box, and it's got sand in the box. Then they put that box into the tank. Then you got to worry about tank water from LFS and things like that. But look up a peacock wrasse. They're superb colour. I prefer them to banana wrasse, I must admit.
Yeah, they are.
And silver belly.
All UK Reef had a peacock wrasse, I think. Yeah, they're super nice, aren't they? What's the
actually,
firefish are lovely. Go on, Jay.
Sorry,
what I
was looking up a firefish.
Okay, the firefish, they're lovely. They get spooked quite a bit. I think I haven't ever had a firefish before, but they're really bad for jumping. But obviously, you've got a lid on that, haven't you? Or you've got a jump cover on that. And then the pygmy hawkfish is the one I've got, the biometric one, but that's quite small. It is pink and white, and it does sit. It doesn't hide, but it does sit on the rocks. But it's a lovely fish. It's really small. But if you want something that's going to swim out in the open, that won't. But it's a fantastic. It's a lovely fish.
Yellow rat. So someone's had it. Oh yeah, this was UKM 120. I think he said if I bought a small one, it should be okay. I think he's got one.
I don't know about wrasse, but I've actually been looking to try and see if I can find a very, very small, like a tiny goby for my tank. And there's so many different types out there, and it's one of the ones that, you look at all different types and I just can't make my mind up. Now that I've got rid of the tube name, I can put a goby in because it would have destroyed it, but I just don't want anything big. Because my tank's so small, I want something that's really, really small. So
I've got a neon blue goby. I don't know if you've seen it in any videos. That is electric blue through the middle and a darker blue on the edges. Again, that's nice. A small fish. It doesn't grow big. Good community fish. Will eat anything, so you don't have to worry about it. And it swims out in the open all the time as I find anyway. And that's one you could easily put in your tank, and I think it would complement the clownfish.
Yeah, definitely. I want something that contrasts against them, so that definitely would, mate. So that's a good idea, actually.
The little blemish is nice, Ross.
Yeah,
my little blenny is tiny, but he's full of character.
I've only really got space to put one more blenny or goby or something like that in. I don't want anything really too much in the tank, so I just need to pick carefully as to what I'm going to go with, I think.
We just pick a couple of small ones, Ross. Then when they get bigger, then we have to upgrade. That's the thing. That'll drive us to the upgrade, won't it?
I don't need any more excuses, mate. I constantly think about it all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh goodness. Saving already.
Yeah, but every time I save, I spend it on something else, so it doesn't really work that way.
MV reefing. There's no way I'm getting another NEM, by the way. I can't. I'm trying to get this one out, but it hasn't moved since I said I was going to get it out. Hasn't
Where's
shifted.
Colette? We could give it to her. She'll get it out for you, mate.
She'd get out with the blooming bolt croppers or something.
Yeah.
Paint though.
So, can you mix peacock and leopard wrasse?
Made up. Yeah,
So I don't know. I thought a peacock wrasse was a type of leopard wrasse, but I don't know if you can mix different type of leopard wrasses together. I've never had of those. I've only had peacocks, so I like them. And so you can put multiple peacock wrasse in as I've done, but I don't know if you can mix them with others. That I'm sorry, I haven't done it before, and I haven't really seen online people either saying don't do it or that they do it. But I tell you what, rather than mixing them, I would get a.
That is pretty cool.
New internet connection.
AIM Spirit Fish. Paul does have a YouTube. It's called Fishpalace. Yeah, so if you want to sub to him, it's called Fishpalace. So he has a YouTube channel.
You can sub to Paul, who's Fishpalace. Jay is Jay's Real Reef UK, and then there's Mogsy, who usually joins us, which is Mogsy's Aquarium.
Yeah, that's a Yashigobi.
Oh.
That's a really cool little fish. That is. I didn't even know it existed. Yeah, that's been recommended by Black Pearl Reef for you, Ross.
Yeah, I might have to have a look at that. Actually, that's quite nice.
I know my
probably. I'm looking for something like Paul said that would contrast against the clowns. That's probably the only thing. So that probably wouldn't stand out against them. But I like the shape of it. It's quite nice. I don't know what the Dracula Goby is. I need to have a look at that.
Yeah, it looks good. The thing is, you've got to be really selective now. Same with me, Ross. I can have one more fish, so I need to be really selective, and it's got to complement the others that you've got without causing any conflict, or because clowns can be very territorial and things, can't they?
Yeah.
Especially your cookie might not be happy if there's a new kid on the block.
No, Cookie will. Having said that, Cookie's been through quite a bit now, so I think she'll survive. She'll be fine.
Yeah. How's Cream getting on?
Cream's just following her around, mate. He follows her around quite the thing.
Every time you say that on your YouTube video now, I'm gonna laugh.
I know. Well, first we had polyp extension, then we had Cream. Oh, speaking of polyp extension, actually, this brings me on to my next one. So I don't know if you noticed my new shirt design that I've done that's on the website. So let me just see if I can share this with you guys. Not a shameless plug, but so this is the new design, and I cannot take credit for this because this idea was given to me from Lucid Reef. So Lucid Reef gets the credit for this one, but he did say that I could go ahead and use it. So couldn't actually get his design to work, so I just remade it with this one, and this is the new shirt design. So I've done it in white. It's also in black as well, so that's the women's one. And then there's the black men's one. So if you don't know what Only Fins is, I probably wouldn't Google Only something. But yeah, if you know what it is, then you know, and that's pretty much it, folks.
Yeah.
So you can get that at beardedreef.com.
I love that T-shirt, Lucid Reef. That's a brilliant design. I think I'm going to get it in black actually, because I quite like the black.
I think it should turn a few heads anyway, but there'll be people that won't know what that references to, which will be like, oh, that's really nice. I like that, and then
don't wear it out in public, you'll be all right.
Yeah, or people will realise that you have a second income, shall we say?
Oh, it's a really good design. Lucid Reef should be on commission for that. It's good.
It was a good one. I said that to him at the time. He sent it to me, and I thought, yep, that is a belter. So he said that, feel free, put it on the website, get it done. So done that, mate. So I've ordered one. It's not here yet, obviously, but we'll let you know when it comes and see what it looks like.
Have you ordered an OnlyFins, have you? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely on its way anyway. But like I say, I don't know where I'll be able to wear it without getting either abuse or questions, one of the two. But we'll try it.
My wife will join it. And she knows she loves the sound of your voice, Ross. So she'll be on your OnlyFins
chat service. That's what we could do.
Yes.
So Richard said there's no stickers on the site, so he's right. There is no stickers on the site. There was. I took them back off again because the prices were extortionate for stickers. It was working at about £3 for a sticker, which I think is ridiculous. So I don't set the prices. You can set them to a degree, but you need to set a minimum price. So I took them back off again. I might put them back up on the off chance that anybody does want one, but personally I think they're too expensive. But I mean, the size of them are pretty good. So I'll get this one here. So this is the Free the Crab one that I got. So as you can see, there's the size of my man hands there. So
yeah,
it's a decent size sticker, but that there was like £3, and I thought, nah, it's just not worth it for me, to be honest. So I took them off the website, but I might put them back up again if anybody wants them.
well, if they were. Oh, you're muted, I think.
Yeah, you're muted, Paul. I've not heard you for a while, mate.
Oh dear.
I just seen his mouth going there. No, still can't hear him.
Like watching the BBC, early hours of the morning.
No, he's not there.
No,
That's a good comment from Cajun Reefer there, Jay.
what she said?
It'll be my new water change shirt.
Oh my god! We're past 9 o'clock at night. It's okay. We can have that comment. That's good.
We're
Thing is,
safe
when
now.
you do, can anybody do a water change without getting water everywhere? I think it's impossible, to be fair.
No, and no matter how careful you are, you'll always get some all over
Everywhere,
the place.
isn't it?
How's the pea pads doing, Jay? Have you launched them yet?
You know what? I use it every time, and it's saved my carpet so much. Yeah, obviously with a towel, it just soaks through, and your carpet's going to get wet. Whereas this, it's got basically a waterproof membrane, so it doesn't get on your carpet.
How much water do you spill?
What's that?
How much water do you spill?
Loads. Honestly, absolutely loads. I don't know how I do it.
You're lucky if I'm spilling like.
And I go for about 4 towels as well.
Oh man, I spill like a couple of teaspoonfuls probably, and that's about it. But I do take my time on that one.
Very careful.
Paul, are you back with us now?
Car wash.
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you now. I've no idea what you were saying beforehand, mate. Sorry.
No, I can't remember either. But yeah, if I do a water change, there's water all over the place. That's why I try and minimise the amount of water changes I do.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It doesn't matter so much in the garage because it's just a stone floor. But in a dining room, it's not too clever.
So, Paul, since Steve isn't with us, I'm going to ask the question of how you're getting on with the cage keeper.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't set it up yet. So I've had it for months. No, I haven't. Well, it's on the wall. And I've had to order a different part for it because you get the tubing and you get a little float switch, which has to be submerged in the water. But from where I've positioned it, it doesn't go far enough. So I'm waiting for some tubing to be sent out from Reef Factory, which they're going to do free of charge. And then I'll set it up. So I will eventually get around to setting it up. I think the tubing's supposed to come this week, but I should have really been quicker in terms of trying to set it up. But I haven't been bothered so far. So I will.
I take it you're not going to upgrade then, no?
No, I think I will.
Is he back?
I don't think
Can you?
he's
I'll wait.
cage.
Yeah, you're back, mate.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So I will give it a good go once I eventually get the tubing through to set it up and see how it goes. But no, I'm not going to pay £200 for an upgrade. If it doesn't work, I mean, would I pay? You've paid 500 odd quid out. Is it worth paying another 200 quid? I'm not convinced. I might just have to suck it up and just take it as a loss.
Did you buy it on a bit of a whim? Because you normally when you buy something, you're like, right, I'm going to get this on the tank, and it's usually within a week you get it up and running and get on there because you're excited. Did you not feel it once you bought it? You thought,
no. Well, probably because Jill bought it for me, so it wasn't my money.
Oh my gosh, that's a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah, so if we go out, we go to AAC or something like that, and then Jill comes in.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm not too sure about it. If you want it, I'll get it for you or something like that. So it's fantastic. She's bought
Yeah, it's lovely gift.
Scollies for me and things like that in the past. So I've got it,
Wow.
and I feel a bit bad because I haven't pulled my finger out to set it up. I mean, it's interesting because there's loads of people I know and seen online that have it set up, and it works really well, and others, not just Steve, have had a real balls ache with it. So I think it's hit and miss, and I don't know why it's hit and miss. So I will give it a good go once I get this tubing.
Yeah.
So I've kind of learned from what Steve has said, and I've done quite a bit of research in terms of the do's and don'ts. They don't tell you, but other people say this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do. So we'll see. But I think then you've got to probably have it going for a month, probably, to see if you get consistent readings. I mean, it's not a big deal at the moment because I'm not consuming a lot of alkalinity, but for how much it costs, I really should have got my finger out by now.
Please don't.
I can't stop laughing at that one.
Please don't mention KH Keeper whenever Steve is on this chat again, please. It's
Yeah.
He's an absolute fit, doesn't he? I'm not surprised.
And he goes on for like 25 minutes.
Hey, I wouldn't be happy if I was him. In fact, I would have
Well, I
went a
know.
lot worse than what he has to. I think he's been quite calm about it because there's no way I'd be paying for an upgrade if I was him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the lesson on that is let that kind of stuff go through at least one generation and get the second generation. So the Clarity, I think the first generation of Clarity, it was good, but the earlier versions, people had problems with it. Yeah. And so the second gen came out, and touch wood, it's been absolutely fantastic. So I think the moral of the story in that one is don't buy first generation of that kind of stuff. Wait until they've had loads of problems with it and they've ironed it out, and then go and buy the second generation ones. A bit like the KH Keeper. Then they've got the souped up second version. It does this, it does that, blah, blah, blah.
So there's a question from Ames Spiritfish, which I don't think we've actually answered that for a long time, asking where we're from. So I'm from a place called Falkirk, which is in central Scotland. Jay?
Yeah, I'm originally from York in Yorkshire. But currently down in Derbyshire at the moment.
Is that in Derby?
So
that's near Derby. And if I move, I'm going to go to Chester in Cheshire.
Chestershire? Sheffield?
Cheshire.
Cheshire.
Yeah, there we go. So.
And Paul?
Yeah, I'm originally from East London. I now live Upminster, which is just inside the M25. So it's junction 29 of the M25. So on the border of Essex and London.
Is M25 like a ring road that goes around London? Is that right?
Yeah.
Next door to AAC, aren't you, Paul?
About 30 minutes in the car.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky. We've got loads of LFS, some really good ones around where we are. But it's probably only two that I use.
What's he on about now?
I'm not sure what that even relates to.
What's quicker than me doing a Hannah checker, apart from everything?
I was going to
probably
say
me going to AAC.
You go to AAC. I was answering that question about where we lived. It took us a while.
Right, so I know this is a bit random, but I'm going to do this giveaway just now.
Oh, so can you just explain what you use this for then? Is this at night? Is this for photography?
Yeah. No, so it's purely for. I'll show you mine's, Jay. So
yeah, go on.
Little torch. It has got a bit on the side as well, but this is the blue one. So it just gives you a kind of, it looks white here, but it is blue. So it means at night time, this is what I use it for. So obviously once the lights are in the tank, you don't want to come in and switch all the lights on the room. So I use the blue one for checking on the tank at night time, and you actually see loads with this. It's got quite a wide beam, and then you can actually narrow it down to a kind of lesser beam than that. And then there's a white one in there as well, which is just a white torch. You can use that for the same kind of thing. So the blue torch and the white torch comes in there, and they're actually pretty handy just for checking on all the kind of fish and coral at night time. So you see quite a lot. But that's the kit there from Orphex. So sent that out. This actually was a prize in the giveaway that I done recently, but the person that won it was Highland Reefer, and he had a set, so he said I could donate them back into the stream again. So technically this prize isn't from me as such. I gave it to Highland Reefer. He didn't want it, so giving it away on here. So the thing for this, we'll get you to put the word flash in the chat if you want to enter in. So if you type the word flash, then I'll enter you into the draw for this. We'll do it on here live so everybody can see it anyway. So if you want these, enter in, type the word flash in the chat, and we'll do it in a bit. So yeah, that's the.
And do we follow him on Instagram, Highland Reef?
No. Well, you can if you want, mate. Yeah.
It's very kind of us to give us a free gift. I don't know if I follow him actually, but I'll
Yeah,
make sure I
absolutely.
do. He's,
Yeah, Highland
very
Reefer,
kind
his
of
name
him
is.
to donate a
So
gift.
he's he kindly donated that in, said that he had a set
Where's he
already,
living?
so there's no point
Where's
in
he
him
live?
taking. I think he's maybe
The other end of the country, maybe.
I think Highland is in Highlandshire, Jay.
My geography is terrible, as you know.
Yeah.
Highland Reefer.
You need to get a better geography teacher, mate.
Yeah, I'm already following. Yeah.
Or use
Oh,
Google.
he likes his Hannah checkers as well. Me and him are going to get on. He's posted his Hannah nitrate checker there. Look at that.
Ah, there you go.
Is he got the
That's
brand
the
new
one,
one, or
isn't
has he got the Coach and Horses one?
If he's been listening to you, Paul, he's got second gen.
Are you going to get this? Are you going to get the second gen one? Are you going to get second gen?
I don't know actually, because my nitrates have always been below 5, but now they're actually going above 5. So I could do with one, I think. Yeah.
So what's the range on the new one then, Jay? I'm assuming it goes higher then.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think it goes up to 50 or 80.
Okay, that's quite a wide range, then, isn't it? Yeah.
It's much higher. Let me have a little Google search.
So a higher range,
Sorry,
and it's a lot quicker. Yeah, and it's a lot quicker as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a touch.
They've taken the filtration out. They've taken the filter paper bit out of it, and that takes.
Sorry, I should have said on this that this will be a UK winner for this one, because it's going to cost a fortune to post in.
Yeah, you're so tight, Ross. Get your hands in the pocket.
Says Jake, and it's not his giveaway.
You could pay the postage if you want, Jay.
No, I've done my giveaway. It went next door. It went next door one, I think.
Ross, I'll split it with you. So if it's an overseas winner, I'll pay the postage.
We're an
We'll do that.
Inclusive stream. We'll go thirds if it's somebody overseas.
Right, that's fair. We'll see who wins.
We're an inclusive stream, but I hope no one overseas wins. I'm only joking. I'm just a bit tight with my money.
Yeah, it hasn't been noticed, Jay. Hasn't been noticed.
Well,
I think it's value for money, isn't it? You like?
Yeah, I love value for money. Absolutely. Yeah. Who doesn't though? Who doesn't?
Says he's bought a rainbow chalice and some other torches.
I mean, look how bright. Let's get the lens on. It is definitely the brightest coral in there by a mile, though. It's stunning. Just get the lenses on.
So do you think it's worth? Do you think it's worth it then, Jay? The rainbow chalice.
I do actually. Yeah. I mean, how much is a coral worth? I don't know, but you don't seem. I think the value's from how rare something is, so they're quite hard to get hold of. So. They are. I've seen
very few around. There was, I think, Signature Frags had a couple, and then the place where you got yours. That's probably the only place where I've seen them on any kind of regular basis being advertised.
Yeah, but Sea Friendly Reef, I've gone against his advice obviously, because he said hide your little gems of a coral kind of towards the back to add interest, which I really get. But mine is front and centre because that's just like where I like to get to see it. But yeah,
absolutely. That should be the only place that should be is at the front, isn't it? Because
it's just
pops
so
and
bright.
stands out.
I don't know if it's coming across as being super bright, but it really is.
Has it, since you had it, because I can see it's growing out a little bit, because it's now starting to spread across the thread plug. Have you seen it morph in colour at all?
So we've got a bit of green on the back left-hand corner, and the fringe or the skirt bit that's spacing out is more bright yellow-orange, like the spots. Yeah, so it is kind of colour changing. It's a really nice one in the collection. So I'm glad that I've got it. It's definitely staying. It's just super bright, but yeah, it's nice.
So is your chalice a flaming Bugatti, Jay?
Yes, that is true. Who said that?
Black Pearl Reef.
Yeah, he knows his stuff. It is a flaming Bugatti, yeah.
Man does know his stuff. Right, so I think I've got all the entries in so far. We'll maybe just wait a couple of minutes in case somebody else is slightly behind.
You don't want anybody who's watching the football to win, do you, Ross?
Well, it's got to be folk that's dedicated to the stream, mate. That's what it is.
I see what you're doing. It's good.
See, if I waited till 9 o'clock, you'd get the boys that jumped on at the end and watched the football. So. See, it's up here, mate. That's what it is. We'll wait a wee bit just to see if anybody else is kind of lagging behind with the chat. I know sometimes if you pause it or that, then it can lag behind a bit.
So Jay, I was just about to say, Jay, do you plan on adding any more calls?
Yeah, so I don't know if you remember, but 2 weeks ago, on this exact stream, I was trying to get hold of an orange. My lights have come down. An orange Recordia mushroom from Prestige Reef, which have only ever been on sale once, and I've managed to get one. So. Yeah, so I'm super excited for that because the Recordia mushroom, even though I've got my corals in a tank, the green one that I've got here, it's really like for a non-reefer who comes in this room and looks at a tank, that's one of the corals that they really like, and it's one of the cheapest ones. They're beautiful. Oh, I mean, obviously Ross has got a beautiful Recordia, and you've got Recordia as well, haven't you, Paul?
Yeah, I've got a quite a big colony of blue and green Recordias. And they're towards the quite high up in the tank. So I think they would change colour. And I just actually fragged a couple of them recently and put them in the other tanks. But they're lovely because they've got such a great texture to them and the look to them, haven't they? They're very, very different. And also I've got one polyp of the one that Ross has got as well. So the yellow one and the green centre, I think it is, or orange centre. I can't remember what colour. So I think they're underrated because they're really hardy as well.
Yeah, I think the pop per pound, as it were, is really good value with those. They're just super vibrant. And like you say, I love the texture of all the little bubbles on their surface. They're a beautiful coral and underpriced and underrated, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, you can get two types. You can get Yama Recordias, and I think it's Florida Recordias. And the Yama ones are harder to look at. I've had them before, but looking at the research, they're more likely to melt and die on you. Whereas the Florida ones, which I think are the ones that Ross has got, certainly I've got, they're more hardy as a Recordia. So Yama ones, you can get, I think, a bit more variety in colours from what I've seen, but they're harder to look after. I think ones in the
I missed the end of that there, Paul, but
so managed to
so I wouldn't have a Yama one just because it might melt. Yeah.
On that's it, the orange Recordia.
Nice. Where did you get that from, Jay? What did you say?
That's from Prestige Reef.
Oh yeah.
And it's $34.99, but it's out of stock again. But I think he had one or two or something, and it went on because I'm a Patreon. You get kind of advanced notice of the corals, so I think I pay £1 a month, and you get the first pick of the corals before they go on the website.
So, I think it's pretty good because I'm a Patreon with him just because I like his channel.
Yeah.
I haven't bought anything from him, but there was a couple of pieces that I was interested in. So because you get a heads up 12 hours in advance or whatever it is, it's quite good if you're looking to get new. Is that for one polyp or is it for two, Joe? Because in the picture it looks like there's two.
It's for one. I think it's for one, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean that's a brilliant price if that's two for 34 quid, but it's not a bad price if it's for one either. Either way, you got a decent price there, I would say.
Yeah, I can't wait. So you kind of have things on your shopping list. They always say that, don't they? Research, and then make sure that everything that you get, you kind of looked into before you put it in. That's one that I want in the collection, and I've secured it, but it's not arrived yet. So he said it's a little bit small at the moment. I said, no, you keep hold of it until you're happy to ship it, and then I'll have it. So I just know I've got one then. That's good.
Cool. What about the Holy Grail? Are you going to be saving up for that?
Yeah, so there's 3 things I'm eyeing up. That orange Recordia, a Holy Grail, but I can't afford a 2-headed one, which is what I've seen, because they're like £600, £700.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a single head, but a nice one. And I want a Scully as well, but I don't know which one or what. And then, to be honest, after that, I think my collection of the species, as it were, I think I've got the ones that I want then.
Yeah, because with the Scullies, you can get a button Scully, which is quite small. So that's the one, the reverse bleeding one that I've got in the other tank. It's quite small, probably twice the size of a 50p piece. And then you can get ones like I've got a Scully in a tank behind me. That's a much bigger piece that I've bought. I would go for the smaller ones because I think it would fit nicely with your tanks. I've got a war paint Scully, which are lovely ones, and you can get them small. Obviously, the smaller ones are cheaper, but I think it'll go better because I know when you got your trackie and it started to blow up in size, you're thinking, "Oh my god, that's too big for the tank."
Yeah, that's the one I'd say I got wrong a little bit. It's for a bigger tank than mine. Is the Trachophilia? It really does swell out, and I think I'm restricting its growth already. I think I need to have a bigger tank, but yeah, we should get Prestige Reef. We should get Ryan on from Prestige Reef. We'll speak to him, and I'll ask him if he can do a giveaway for loads of corals. Am I joking? But we can get Ryan on. Hopefully, we can get him on. I think he'll come on.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
so.
I think you know him the best more than any of us. So if you could approach him, that would be great and see if he's available. Yeah, we've got a couple of people lined up. Probably not until after the summer, but more news on that nearer the time.
Did you have a look at the torches I showed you from Nessie's Lair that they were selling?
Yeah, some really good value ones there, isn't there, as well? But they haven't. See, I've got 4 torches already. And they didn't have any. They've got beautiful torches, but they didn't have any different ones. And I'm kind of looking for a Grail now. It's the only one that I want to add. But yeah, I couldn't believe how cheap some of them were actually.
No, these prices are unbelievable.
Ones or whatever. It's like £20 for a torch. I didn't think it was.
I know.
That is nuts, isn't it?
That's the one that I've got in the tank was £20 a head for that one. So I mean, he's done.
For £20. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that one of mine, I think it's actually got about 4 heads on it now. It's actually grew pretty quick, to be honest with you. So it's a standard torch, but I like it. It's nice. So
yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, which goes back to what we said before about the, regardless of the price, I know you focus on not so much the names, but if it looks good, then that's it. And you can, I know we talk about the price of things, but you can get some really decent cost.
Back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so I'm going to do the giveaway now. So we will...
Wow. Have you put all those names in already, Ross?
Yeah, they're in, mate. They're done. So that is it. No more entries in the chat. That is it finished. So we shall spin. So I'm going to share my screen again so that I can show you guys this. So can you all see that?
Oh my goodness, look at that as well. A bit of marketing in the middle.
I like it.
I like
Perfect.
that.
So all the names are in of the people who entered. Just double check that. So everybody that entered should be in there. If you want to check,
I tell you what's good, Ross. Got some new names on there as well. So thank you for those that are joining, commenting for the first time, as well as the regulars. Everyone's welcome. But it's good to see on a football night we've got some new people. So thank you. Yeah,
definitely. So fingers crossed, somebody who's not won before can win that. I'd see we've not actually got Gao in it, so that's
he was on briefly, but
he was, yeah. Right, so I'll spin this now, so good luck to everybody, and fingers crossed.
Have you missed JK? I don't know. Oh, I think I've seen that, actually. Oh, well done.
Michael Butler, well done, mate.
Yes. Well done, Michael Butler. Even though you said I had no mates, you've won.
So the question is, where is Michael based? Is he UK or is he overseas?
I think he's UK.
He is, yeah. Thumbs up for Michael Butler. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, give him a thumbs up for winning on the live stream. It really helps Ross's algorithm, and it helps his YouTube channel. So if you can give him a thumbs up, if you haven't pressed it already, we'd love you to do that.
Thank you very much,
everybody. And well done, congratulations, Michael.
I'll get in touch with you, Michael, and we'll get you posted out to you, mate. So well done. I know that Michael's a regular follower, certainly of my channel. I'm assuming he'll be a follower of all you guys as well. So it's good to see somebody getting that back. So well done, mate. So that's that. So one thing I was actually going to talk about was, I've got a video coming out on it, but I'll speak to it about you guys anyway. So I done a hydrogen peroxide dip on my coral, well, one of the Zoa frags. It's on a bit of rock, and I had quite a bit of hair algae growing out this single Zoa colony. I've never had anything else in the tank but this one bit. So I think Paul, you gave me a couple of suggestions to try and so on, and I think I tried them but didn't really make any difference as such. So
has Ross gone now? Has Ross's internet gone out?
I think he might have. It's spread from sunny Essex up till Scotland.
It's going round here. Oh, he's back. He's back here.
I thought maybe Scotland had scored a goal there, and the internet had just went crazy in the country, and that was it. But
they broke the net in more ways than one.
So back to what I was saying, the hydrogen peroxide. So I done a hydrogen peroxide dip, and I got this stuff off of Amazon that focuses. Now it's just food grade hydrogen peroxide, 3%. Done that, and I mean the guys will tell you that the actual bit of coral that I had with the zoas on it was covered. I mean, it's probably the worst that I've seen in a long time. Done a dip with the hydrogen peroxide. My video is coming out. I'll show you exactly how to do it. But long story short, 3 days later, the rock is back to being perfectly white again. There's no coloration in the rock whatsoever, and the frag plug that's, well, not frag plug, but the bit of rock that it's on is perfect. There's no algae whatsoever, and the zoas survived. They're perfect. They've opened up again. So probably one of the most impressive transformations I've seen within the space of a couple of days. It's killed everything back to basically nothing again. So quite impressed with that. It was just something on Google that I had found a couple of weeks back that, you know, I was showing it, and then there is videos online of it as well. So I've done a little video just on how mine is. So I'll put that out either maybe this week or next week. I don't know. But definitely something to look at.
What's quite interesting is you used a product that was kind of non-reefing aquarium product. Obviously, you did your research and you'd have saved money on that, and it's worked just as well as anything else would. Yeah,
I mean it's probably one of the most impressive transformations I've seen, I think, mate, to be perfectly honest with you. It worked really, really well. I don't know if it's something that is common knowledge or not, but I think it was what a post on Ultimate Reef that I read about, actually, Paul, that you had said about Ultimate Reef, so I'd looked on there and that worked.
Yeah, I've heard about it before, but I haven't tried it before. Yeah. And I think also the fact that it's food grade, because when you showed that bottle, it looks pretty serious and pretty dangerous. But the fact it's food grade, I think, helps, doesn't it?
It looks very daunting. I don't know if I'd use it in mine.
It's full of warnings saying, you know, handle with care, causes serious eye irritation, use gloves, clothing, protective clothing, face protection, eye protection, everything.
Wow.
I mean, it looks like a nasty, and even the name hydrogen peroxide puts the fear into you, but to be perfectly honest with you, it's worked really, really well. And I mean, I got a litre bottle there, and you're lucky if I've probably used, I don't know, 50 ml out of that in total. So it's, I mean, don't add that to your tank, but do it separately. Again, I'll show it in the video, but it's worked really, really well. And I think a lot
That's
of
a
people
good tip.
have used it. There's one from Black Pearl Reef, hydrogen peroxide is used in aquariums. You can get a device called a Soching oxidator. Never heard of that.
No, news to me.
He's either actually ripping the piss out of us, or it's a serious thing. I have no idea whatsoever.
He's got to say something ridiculous. Such thing.
And then there's another one here saying algae water uses witch hazel when it gets bacterial infections in coral.
Witch
No, one I've
hazel.
not heard of.
Witch hazel it's been around for donkey's years. I used to have that when I was as a kid for bumps and bruises and cuts and grazes and stuff like that. So that's it's a really old product. So what do you do? Do you algae warrior? Do you dilute it or do you use it pure? Because I'm assuming you take the coral out and then you use it as a dip. I'm assuming.
I would have thought so. That sounds probably a better way to do it. You're not gonna...
seems logical, doesn't it? Yeah, as opposed to pouring the bottle into your tank, which probably not the best thing to do.
No.
Yeah.
I would never do that. Too dangerous. Too risky.
Yeah.
But no,
I must admit, seeing that bottle of what you use there, I would look at that and think, I really want to put that into it. But as you say, quite a few people, I've seen it on Ultimate Reef before, and how do you dilute it and everything else. So, yeah, tried and tested. Like anything, it's in the right dosage, isn't it? But like we said about Kenny Clean and some of the others, it's, read instructions and take the recommendation on how you do that and how you recover the tank as well around, water changes and other stuff.
One thing I will say,
like
whoever packs the orders at my house, at Amazon for my house, must wonder what the hell goes on in here, because there's some strange and peculiar things I order off Amazon that comes to this house, and they must be going, what is he up to?
Making a
I can't imagine many people order hydrogen peroxide to their house off Amazon. It's not really a standard thing, is it?
I wouldn't have thought so, no.
Dettol, I've heard of that. Dettol dipping, yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people using Dettol as opposed to Coral RX and other things. I must admit, I've always used Coral RX because I think, yes, it is a lot more expensive than Dettol, but it lasts quite a while because I don't get a massive number of corals. And in the scheme of things, when you look at everything you pay out for everything else, I'd rather use that. But I've seen a number of posts where people use it successfully. So it seems to be a good remedy. Now, whether it covers everything that Coral RX does in terms of what it kills, that I don't know. But people use it and the coral survive. But how effective it is, I don't know.
Yeah, I use Coral RX Pro. I've not actually tried anything else, to be honest. I think it was actually one of your videos, Jay, that you used a different dip and then you went to Coral RX Pro, didn't you? I think that's what caused me to buy it.
Yes, I used the Seachem.
You didn't like that, did you?
Yeah, so they're two different ones. So Coral RX is for like hitchhikers, flatworm, your kind of pests, whereas Seachem Reef Dip is for healing. So my hammer coral went through a phase where it was a little bit sad. It's an iodine dip, which is basically a healing dip rather than a pest. So so there's the two here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of to get rid of your pests. And that's your medicated dip for corals that are just looking a bit under the weather.
Yeah.
And that actually
also people use the iodine dip. Yeah. So Jay, people use that dip when they also frag. If you frag things like chalice and other LPS, it helps the healing and to stop infection, which I suppose is the opposite of trying to solve an infection potentially, whereas this is trying to stop it.
Yeah.
So I take it that Seachem one is mainly iodine then, Paul, is it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I think so, yeah. So people just use, I've seen people use the Red Sea iodine, dilute that and use that to dip corals to help them heal. Especially on something like chalice, because chalice, when I first started fragging chalice, I probably used to lose about half of them when I first did it. They would just strip overnight, and then I just took a different approach, put them in the sun, started using dips, and now I find if I was to frag about 10 bits of chalice, I might lose one. So it definitely works.
No, that's good, mate. There's a comment here that I wasn't
really good.
quite sure about. So, Algae Warrior said there, Mike Paletta doses it to his tank directly, so it naturally gets diluted when they use it that way. Now, I'm not quite sure what he's referring to with that one. I don't know.
So if it's iodine, then yes. Right, yeah.
So
if it's
previous
iodine,
comment
then
was about
definitely.
witch hazel, mate.
Oh right. Oh, don't know.
So
Now that guy is quite well known in America. He's been around for years. A really experienced reefer. I think he's got his own YouTube channel. But you see him pop up on as guests on Reef Builders amongst other people. So he's been around in the hobby for donkey's years. I think since the 80s, if not before.
Okay. No,
he has a live stream, by the way. If Ames is still watching, Reef Builders has a live stream, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Reef Dudes has a live stream as well.
Yeah.
And Waterbox does one too.
Do they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Tobias has been on it.
Ross, I'm surprised you've not been invited on there.
Yeah, you should be. You should ask if you can go on it.
Yeah. If you get invited on there, Ross, you must wear your Only Fins t-shirt.
Deal. I'll do that, mate.
Not the Waterbox one. I want you in the Only Fins.
Yeah, I'll do that. But yeah, they actually put a comment up the other night saying that my tank was one of their favourite all-time Peninsula builds. So that was a nice comment to have from them on that one, because they posted that up. So a bit humbling, that one.
Oh, it's fantastic to get that. Fantastic to get that feedback, Ross. But also the tank looks really good. It was a top-down shot, wasn't it? If I remember right.
Yeah,
the
it
picture.
was, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. So it looked superb.
But I mean, I think the thing with Waterbox is they engage with everybody quite a lot compared to, likes of Red Sea and people like that don't seem to have quite a social media presence as what Waterbox does just now anyway.
No, there's not that many manufacturers that you would say, certainly on Instagram, that promote that much or that well from what I've seen. But as you say, Waterbox, maybe because it's on my feed, it comes up more than some of the others. I don't know, but Red Sea are virtually silent, aren't they?
Redbox, is that a new channel that I've missed out on?
That follows this channel.
Yeah.
I think someone's watching it, and that's what's happened to me Wi-Fi.
The internet's better on that channel as well, though. Oh, come on!
Is that the football finish now? Is it?
No. There's about 30 seconds left. And you've just got Scottish players laying in the box so they can't shoot. They're all just laying down.
It's finished. It's finished, Jay. It's finished. It's 0-0.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on there?
I know.
All those people we normally have about 300 on here, don't we? All those 300 people that have watched the football instead of coming on here.
So, there you go, Paul. Maybe that's something you've been using. So DC Reefing says Redbox is a call recording software. Did not know that.
It's called.
No, I didn't.
And I'm questioning how he knows that as well. He's maybe up to some dodgy stuff.
It's a random comment.
You obviously works MI5 or something.
Yeah. No, that's a new one. I had never heard of that one.
No, I have to Google it.
Game.
I don't know what that means.
No, I mean, look at the Scots. They think they've won.
There we go. Never used anything but Dettel. He's justified it. He used to work in telecoms, he claims. So it's no MI5 and it's not something. Oh, there's quite a few of them. I don't know what's going on here. I use Redbox at my workplace. There must be some. I don't know what's going on here, mate.
Plug the product.
I know.
You didn't even know about that.
Maybe we should get them on as a guest and they can talk about it. Got more chance of getting in than Red Sea.
No, we want the whatever it is, the robo snail. We want them on first.
Ah, yeah. Did you buy one,
You
Jay?
missed that, Paul.
Robo snail, what is that?
So basically, Steve, he just automates everything. So he doesn't really have to do anything with his tank, and it just runs like a dream. The only thing he said he did was clean the glass, and that annoyed him. So someone said you can actually get an auto glass cleaner called Robo Snail, and it's a genuine product that actually just cleans your glass like a Robo Hoover. Goes around.
Can you imagine him setting it up though?
Well, it'll probably take a few weeks.
We'd hear about it, wouldn't we, every week, and on a live stream, just watching it going up and down and up and down. And if it knocks over one of his corals, that'll be it.
Then it's something like it can't go around a corner, so it's a bit limited.
so basically, it could do the front glass, and that's it, which isn't bad, I suppose. But yeah,
for 12 hours, it's going to wear it away.
Thing is, this is where we'll find out if Steve's actually watched the stream or not, because he'll come in and say, "Oh, what was all this you slagging me off?"
No, I'm not. I've missed him dearly.
I know.
Come back,
I hope
Steve.
he enjoyed the match. I mean, I hope he had a good camping trip.
I hope he enjoyed the match.
Camping trip in Manchester.
Yeah,
it's raining as well. No, man.
it's not raining up here, mate.
Oh, it's raining in the Midlands.
No,
It's
you get
raining
crap weather
here as
down
well.
there. What have we got
Hey,
here?
dear.
Here's a comment from Jamie. Collected some flatworms off a colony a while back. Did a side-by-side test with Dettol and RX. Dettol shocked them instantly and killed within 5 minutes. RX made them wiggle, but after 15 minutes alive. That's interesting.
What's that? Someone timed how long things take to die?
No, they compared RX Pro and Dettol to see what one was more effective.
Yeah. I suppose the question on flatworms, because I don't think Coral RX, and I don't know if Dettol would do it, does it kill the eggs? Because I was seeing some posts around it about people having flatworm. And I think it happened to Colette, didn't it? She had flatworm and she was taking stuff out and dipping them and putting them back in, but it doesn't necessarily get the eggs. And that's the problem with flatworm, is killing the eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So what often people do is scrub the coral to see if they can get the eggs off.
Yeah. There's a couple of funny comments here that I'll just put on about Mogsy. So imagine the robo snail stopped working, he'd be straight down B&Q buying a sledgehammer. But I think the best one here was if Steve did manage to buy the robo snail, then Gen 2 would come out, and if he sends £300, he can get the robo snail Pro.
Get the Pro snail. Goes round the corners.
Yeah, Robo Snail on speed, goes round corners and goes up and down properly.
Oh man, you can just imagine how raging he would be at that.
This bloody snail don't go round corners. The instruction says it does. Or they send me a crab. It's not a snail, it's a crab.
He's been done out.
Knowing Steve's luck, he would buy it and it would only do the outside of the glass and not the inside or something. That'd be what he would end up with.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you've not to talk about timing.
Terrible timing. Terrible timing.
There you go. Imagine if it killed one of his actual snails. Poor man, he's not even here to defend himself either.
He has enough with coral warfare, doesn't he? Although we haven't heard that for a while.
I know. I actually don't think he put a video out this week, did he, Steve?
No.
I thought maybe missed it, but I don't think he has.
I don't think so.
So, yeah.
I've got to say, I know Ross. You put out, both of you put out videos every week, and hats off to you. I just can't. I'm just so busy doing other stuff. I find other reasons not to.
Oh, his internet doesn't allow him to do it.
He finds other reasons not to upgrade his Wi-Fi. That's what it is.
The upload speed is like 5 weeks.
Guy, is it the Wi-Fi that stops you, Paul? Is that what it is?
No, just it's everything. Any excuse. And it's not the Wi-Fi.
Equipment isn't on your Wi-Fi because otherwise your doses are going to be stopping.
Aye.
They are, but they don't listen to the Wi-Fi. They just dose.
They just dose.
Fortunately, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe you put the ironing board in the tent.
Board with his tent watching this. living the dream is Steve.
Yeah, sorry, Paul, you broke up there, but yeah, it is difficult. People don't see what's involved in doing videos weekly, monthly, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of work goes into it, so I totally get how some people just don't have time to do it.
It's good fun, but I'm not doing one this weekend. I've got to. I'm running Duke of Edinburgh, so gonna have to have a weekend off. I haven't got time to do it. I'm away all weekend.
Unacceptable, mate. You should have a bank of them saved up, ready to go.
I'm not like you, Ross. I need a bank.
You've got a library, haven't you, full of videos to put out?
I'm down to that's 4 now. 4 videos ready to go. That's what I'm at.
4? Wow.
Fair play to you.
But you've got to have that, mate, so you can go and do Duke of Edinburgh awards and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't ever do that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's true. Going.
No, you found the time.
So, Paul, I think you have a Walmart connection, according to Algae Warrior there.
Walmart?
Yeah, I know I haven't got a decent one. I need to sort that out. I need to connect the cable, and that maybe improve it, but we'll see.
No.
I'll sort something out for next week, I think.
Whose channel are we on next week? Is it yours, Paul?
No,
no, it'll be Steve's.
Yeah, because we swapped, because I was away, didn't I, and Steve. So, yeah, we'll go to Steve next week. Yeah, because I was last week when I with Tobias.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, Steve next week. And then, it's a bit different, wasn't it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, actually. Tobias was really good. I mean, his English was phenomenal for somebody that's not their first language. That was really good. But you see that from his videos, obviously. But it's strange to hear him saying that he's not confident about it, doesn't think it's good and so on. Whereas, to me, he was really good, to be fair. So. Yeah,
I think his English is excellent, and we talked about this before, didn't we? About it's embarrassing when you got a lot of people whose first language is not English and they master English that we struggle to speak anything. And I struggle with English.
He didn't understand. He didn't seem to understand my invite to come and take a picture of my tank.
You did try that.
Never know.
We only do decent ones. Yeah. He's going to London though. You're going to show him round, aren't you? You're going to take him to is it David's tank down there or something?
So we've exchanged emails about. He needs to let me know when he wants to come over to London. I think he can sort out going to Sea Life, and then I'm going to organise a couple of people him to see. There's a guy down in Kent, and he was in the Daily Mail where his wife went away to Tenerife and he rebuilt the house, which is not exactly 100% true. But I know him through someone else. So if I can get him to go down, he's got a fantastic tank. He's been around for donkey's years. He goes into AAC. So I'll see if I can get connecting into him from AAC. And then also probably if I can get a connection into David Saxby and he can do a visit there. But we need to get out of lockdown, don't we? And then sort out when he's coming over. And then we'll sort something out. So that'd be quite good if he comes over.
Yeah, we'll get him back on.
And if he
gets a tour of Sea Life or anything like that in London, we can probably get maybe 3 or 4 of us and maybe go around with him, day trip to London or whatever. We'll see what happens.
That'd be really good.
Nearer the time, but I'm sure we can sort something out.
And he's in the quarterfinals of Reef Uk YouTube playoffs as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's quite a good thing actually. I quite like that.
Finals, I think. Excuse me.
BRS
sure. TV, BRS TV, Mad Hatters, Prestige Reef, Sea Friendly Reef. I can't remember the others, didn't I?
Yeah, it's a really good competition, isn't it?
I'm loving it.
Yeah, I like
I'm
it.
absolutely loving it.
What does the winner get? Is it just the whole thing of you won that, or is there a prize?
I don't know. It's a good accolade if you win, surely.
I would say so.
Best YouTube reefing channel, effectively, by the viewers. Was best, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's us. We've been told off already.
she's like the landlady, isn't she? She rings the bell.
Every
The
week.
landlady.
It's like Dickie.
know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right, drink up then. Drink up. Ross, you haven't even had a drink tonight.
Oh, I've got my hard stuff here, mate, but I've not had a proper drink.
Congratulations to Michael Butler again for winning the competition.
Yeah, congratulations,
absolutely.
mate. I'll be in touch with you. We'll get that posted out to you. And again, thanks to everybody who's tuned in tonight. I know there was football on, so thank you to everybody who took the time to still support us and watch us. It means a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Next week we are going to be on Steve's channel, so we'll get a poster out for that and let you know what's going to be happening for next week. Like the guys said, thanks so much to everybody for joining. Thank you to Jay and Paul for coming on. I know you guys were wanting to watch the football, so thank you very much for sticking with
No,
it.
pleasure.
Thank you for everybody commenting, because it's the comments that make this channel as well, and the lives.
Yeah.
So every one of you that's commented, thank you so much, because you make it what it is as well.
Yeah,
100%.
even Black Pearl Reef.
Yeah.
Black Pearl Reef's comments are always the best, but
Yeah, it's good.
yeah, so thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a good weekend of reefing.
Cheers, all. Have a good one.
You too. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.